What real event in your life, had it happened in a book or movie, would be obvious foreshadowing? Seeing a wanted poster at my college library featuring 3 ridiculously cartoonish police composites. I then looked up an article to see what these people were wanted for. They had robbed someone in the dorms at my school. That's interesting. I was cracking up at how shitty the suspects looked on the poster. It was very odd. 3 weeks later, my house is being raided by the police and it turns out 2 of my roommates were on that wanted poster along with another one of their friends. It was wild. I lived with 2 of these guys and the police composites of them were so terrible that I couldn't recognize them. Edit: no, I was not the third guy. I'm a white woman and the suspects were 2 black men and 1 white man. We lived off campus so I didn't get my own dorm room after this. I think the police eventually figured out who the suspects were because one of them had been on the football team and there was some security footage. Or maybe it was tracking of the stolen laptop. Damn. How'd you get away with it then, and how bad was your composite lol? Quite a few guests at my wedding asked about why my sibling looked so bad, joking about how he looked like he was knocking on death's door. He out the next day during my honeymoon. Same-ish. My bro was a mess at our wedding, but was able to entertain the kids by drawing chalk art with many hearts involved. He was high, on everything. But had a gentle heart. During our honeymoon he was in the hospital. He odd that night. Cops. Ambulance. Etc. all was hidden from us for a few days. He passed away, meth-induced suicide on the freeway, about a year later. Our family tried everything. Don't let this example stop you from trying to save a loved one. I spent my 20s doing all kinds of drugs all the time. I spent a year and a half doing meth, that is the most evil drug I have touched. I watched it break people, mentally ducking destroy them. 4+ people. I feel like I quit just in time to not be wrecked for life. Good on you. I watched multiple friends go down as well, and my lil bro was one of them. But he recovered and was mostly good for a decade plus then, money problems, divorce, revert, drugs, rehab, failure, lost identity. Eventually death. Scary shit. Self-control, the mysterious and most elusive of all human traits. I'm not sure if this counts, but my mother was driving through a blizzard with me in the passenger seat, and I said, "Hey, you're going a little fast. You should probably slow down." She responded, "I know how to drive. I've been doing it for 30 years. Not a minute later we spun out right into the ditch. Edit: I woke up to an exploded inbox, RIP. To address some of your questions and comments, 1. Yes, she would have still spun out had I not said anything. Brakes or not, we were at a bend in the road and couldn't have possibly made it around at that speed. 2. She was quiet, embarrassed, and apologetic as we sat in the ditch waiting for help to arrive. I did not let her live it down for the remainder of the season. My dad and I were just about to leave for my soccer game when I decided to rip a massive fart. I shat my pants. My dad starts laughing like a madman, tears and stuff, then proceeds to yell, "This is how you rip one." He shat his pants. All these sad stories and this one actually had me laughing out loud. When began pooping blood, all my coworkers in the bar were close as hell, so I confided. As expected they all joked along the lines of, "Oh, you might have butt cancer." Or something similar. Jokes on them. It was cancer. Gastrointestinal leiomyosarcoma. Been clear since October 2010 PSA edit, for those worried. If you be poopin' to bloods, bright red blood is indicative of being further along the gastrointestinal tract. Large bowel or later. Possibly, but not exclusively, an anal fissure, ruptured hemorrhoid or something of that nature. May not be anything too serious, but may need attention if it's ongoing. Consult your doctor. Dark brown or dentar-like is indicative of being at the upper end of your GI tract. Could be indicative of problems in the stomach or small bowel. You could be looking at a serious diagnosis: IBD, Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, etc., or like me, some form of cancer. Consult your doctor. Loss of blood for any reasons is a serious matter and should be assessed, and if needed, addressed. PSA edit 2, I'm just a random dude on the internet who had cancer that one time. Happy to give advice I've learnt from my experience, or listen to your problems if you want to vent. However, if you're having problems, go see your doctor. Don't take a random dude from the internet's advice as gospel. Consult a professional. I'm happy for your ass. My pooper thanks you. Shakes hands with ass. It's called fisting. There was one time a couple years ago when I was telling my dad about how our car was the only one that wasn't damaged or scratched, which was interesting considering it was the oldest car we had. Surely enough, the next day I went on my usual route to school and was at a stoplight when I heard the deafening sound of someone slamming their brakes. At the time I thought, oh man, is someone about to get hit, just before I felt my car jolt forward. Luckily it was just a fender bender and me and my brothers came out fine, but it was interesting how it happened that day. This kind of situation is why you knock on wood. We were 100 feet from our driveway, doing 10 miles per hour, at the beginning of about an hour drive. My mum commented on how a noise she heard in the car had recently stopped. She patted the dashboard and said, "Good car," and 4 seconds later someone pulled out of a side road and hit us. Totaled the car. Edit, totaled means something slightly less dramatic in the UK apparently. The car was written off by insurance for being irreparable rather than being crushed to a pulp. Edit 2, my highest ever rated comment, and it sparked a debate about what does and doesn't constitute a totaled car. They'll take that. Miss you, shitty red car. That's all totaled technically means in the US, too. If it would cost more than the value of the car to fix the damages, it's totaled. I dated a girl who cheated on her boyfriend to be with me. I think you can piece together the rest. My stalker telling me on our first and only date that he used to treat women like shit. 4 years later, he still calls my work now and then to hurl sexual obscenities at me. My dad's ex-wife still calls from time to time to tell him to duck off. She literally calls and screams "fuck off." And then hangs up. Sometimes she switches it up with a "go to hell." They've been divorced for 45 years. Some people are weirdly tenacious. Has he tried ducking off? Edit, all of you can fuck off and go to hell. This is for a church, honey. Maybe he should duck off and then fuck back on again. See if that works. I had 2 friends in college and we all had the same double major. One of them had broken his femur a year or 2 before, and I was on crutches for a broken ankle at the time. We had a conversation like this: friend number 2, you two have a lot in common. You're both short and studying X and have broken your legs. All 3 of us have the same double major. Friend number 2, well, okay, I guess I'm in the group too. But I don't want to have the injury in common with you guys. A week later, he broke both of his feet. Broke both of his feet how? By smashing them with a hammer to try to fit in. In grade school, a guy from my group of friends jumped out of a swing when it was at its highest point on the backswing. He broke both his wrists, and proceeded to get tons of attention after returning to school with 2 casts. He was already very well liked by everyone, so there was a huge amount of sympathy. Another fella in my group of friends was so jealous that he did the exact same thing on the swing, and broke both wrists like the first guy. Yeah. Not quite as much sympathy there. I have the mouth of a sailor and I run it constantly. I had a teacher who I had gotten comfortable with over the course of high school, and I ended up feeling comfortable to swear around him. He told me once that my mouth was going to get me in trouble later in a professional setting if I didn't learn how to tone it down. Fast forward a couple of years and I was fired from my job for dropping an F-bomb in front of the company CFO. One of my coworkers was fired from his previous job for calling his boss a clipboard wanker. Swearing is a daily thing at my job and everyone finds that story hilarious. I guess he took things a bit too far with the freestyle swearing. One of the few solid memories I have of my biological father is him sitting me down and walking me through his absolute favorite song. Not just pointing it out on the radio, making me, a small child, really understand the lyrics and the story behind them. He left when I was 6 to go to the gym, ran off with a nanny, and I haven't seen him in 25 years. The song? Cat's in the Cradle. Don't let anyone fool you, the worst kind of deadbeat dad is the stereotypical kind. My father did something similar. He pointed out how Eminem's Mockingbird reminded him of the 2 of us. It really was similar, with my mother being in jail rehab a lot and him not being around, too. Granted, Eminem was working on a music career and my father was in prison. I was taking care of my girlfriend while she had a really bad fever. The flu spread through her family and somehow made its rounds through my family, but luckily I didn't get sick. She commented that it was unfair that I never get sick. I thought back to when I last had to use a sick day at work and couldn't remember. I guess I was just pretty healthy or lucky. Later that week I was taking a shower when I noticed one of my testicles was a lot firmer and a bit bigger than the other. I did some quick research and came to the conclusion it was cancer. After many appointments and a surgery, sure enough, it was cancer. I got the cancer-free prognosis back in March, but it'll be under close monitoring for the next several years in case it makes a comeback. I appreciate everybody's well wishes, they seriously bring a smile to my face, and for all the men out there, please check your balls. Tell your brothers, your sons, your dads, your friends, check your balls. I never thought it could happen to me, but here I am, one nutting it but totally healthy because I just happened to catch it early. Well, lots of men just started touching their balls after reading this, that's for sure. I'm a lady. So I checked my husband. One lady to another, be sure to do a monthly breast exam too.